Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.
Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey. Pre-record Labor Day episode. How you doing, Jamie?
I'm doing great. How about you?
No complaints. I'm currently, as this is airing, at the beach down in 30A. So looking forward to heading down that direction soon in real time. But happy Labor Day to all of those listeners out there. Hope you're not working too hard today.
Yeah, and I'm currently sitting at the lake on Hartwell. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie and I are both in the southeast, and the weather has taken about a 10-degree cooler turn. So it definitely feels like fall. Football is starting, or has started by the time we've aired this. And it's going to be a great weekend. So, Jamie, I think this is our first episode, just you and I together.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of recording just with Brand. You're wrong.
We did your show. Yeah.
No, we did New Year's Day one day when the kids could not get up on New Year's. We did that one, just the two of us.
Okay. I don't remember that, but we did your show as well. So I guess it's not our first time, not our first rodeo. But we've got two fun topics today. Everyone freaks out when Vrbo makes changes, but we covered that last week. Now everyone freaks out when Airbnb makes changes. So we'll get into that in just a second. But we are now, as this episode is airing, a week and a half out from Guest Eval. If you haven't booked it, be one of those last-minute bookers that we all have known to come and love and get down to Mexico City. We'd love to see you down there. It is destined to be an excellent event. It's got a great lineup of speakers. And Mexico City is always a good time. If you haven't been, check it out. The shocking thing for me in Mexico City is the altitude. It gets me every time. You don't think Mexico City is going to be as high as Denver, but it is. So excited to meet and chat with all the Guesty folks and all of their users and partners. So see y'all soon. Jamie, Airbnb makes some waves today.
Yeah, and it got announced on Monday night. So after our taping of last week's episode, and it's always fun for me, like being so connected. I feel like I am to the industry when I get an email that comes out to me as a host, and it's a big change. I'm like, oh no, like. So I immediately sent out to all of our team internally of like, all right, we've got to figure out what this means for the average host, and we've got to figure out what this means for our property management users, because and we run uplisting, and it is going to have a big impact for all property management systems, sort of connected users. But just to level set on the announcement that Airbnb made on October 27th. Airbnb is making all hosts that use property management software to switch to the host-only fee structure. So the guest will not see any charge when they make a booking. So the difference now in the host has this option. They can choose the host-only fee structure, where they get charged 15% out of every booking. It goes to Airbnb, and the guest does not see a charge when they go to check out. Or they can see the split fee structure, where the host gets paid charged 3%, and the guest gets charged anywhere from 14 to 16% on top of it. It works out to roughly 15.5% total being charged to the guest. And then on December 1st, the Airbnb is adjusting the rate that is charged for those using the host fee structure from that 15% to 15.5%. There was some rumors out there that on December 1st that all hosts were being sort of forced to move to the host-only fee structure. That isn't true. It is just that the fee is being changed for those that are using it from 15% to 15.5%. So
everyone has to move to that, individual hosts or professionals, correct?
No, that is individual hosts will still be able to choose whether they want to stay on that split fee structure or move to the host only structure. Airbnb is not sort of forcing everyone to move yet. They're only forcing those to move if they use property management software.
Why? And I've got my own speculation, and we talked about it pre episode. But why do you think they would still delineate the two?
And one is, and there's going to be, I think, much broader sort of pushback on this change. And I can get into it now or later, and maybe I'll just sort of roll into it now. Like, I think like every host should make a change to their settings now. Like, it is time to switch to the host only fee structure. So, and the big impetus of that, and I sort of missed it at the time, was when Airbnb moved to total price for everyone in April of this year. So now, and irregardless of your and how you sort of choose your fee structure, when a guest goes and searches on Airbnb and they see the price on that search, it is an all-in price inclusive of the fees, inclusive of both the guest fee and the host fee. So as guests are sort of browsing prices, they're seeing that total price. And when they go to check out, if you're on the total price fee structure, the guest doesn't see an additional service charge. Though if you're on the split fee structure, they do see that additional service fee from 14 to 16%, roughly 15%. So like, what's going to be more likely to convert? It's going to be those properties that don't have that additional fee versus those properties that do. So what I see is like Airbnb sees the writing on the wall. They see the difference in conversion between those properties that have the host only fee structure and those that have the split fee structure. See that guests don't want to see that additional charge, and they are going to be moving everyone to that because they see it converting at a higher rate. Like, the question is now, like, do you wait till you're forced to do it or do it now? Because like, and I've got my listing, like I was looking at it last night, like the additional charge that shows up for me versus a competitor. Like, I am moving my property to the host only fee structure today because I think it's going to help convert bookings at a greater rate than it was before.
And they're also not converting over the hosts, presumably because there's this mentality in the single host community that Airbnb only costs them 3%, but Vrbo and Booking are 15%. It's flawed, but if you actually look at a line item, it I guess is correct. You're certainly leaving money on the table there. But walk through some of the discussions you've had with hosts on I only paid 3% to Airbnb.
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest sort of misunderstandings in terms of gotchas. Yeah, on the sort of fee structure. And how I see it is the fee that is getting paid, that you're paying to Airbnb, is the difference between what the guest is paying and what you're collecting. And in the current sort of environment of, let's say I set my rate for $100, Airbnb charges an additional fee to the guests of 15%. So it's $115. And then I pay 3%, I get $97. So I set the price at 100. The guest pays 115 and I get 97. Like the difference of the fee,
the delta is still there.
The delta is still there. And now when we move to this new fee structure, the exact same delta is there. It's just much simpler in that the price I charge of $115 is what the guest is paying. And I still get my same $97 sort of back to me in the end. So yeah, and it was always wrong to think that the fee that you were paying was only 3%. The fee that you were paying has always been 15%. It has always been 15% that Airbnb is collecting between the difference between the guest is paying to what you're collecting.
And if you don't price on the different platforms differently, then here's your wake-up call to take a deep dive and look at it. Because what Jamie's describing, if your price is $100 on Airbnb and you're getting $97 from it, and your price is $100 on Booking, but you're getting $85 from it, yeah, of course it looks like Booking's a more expensive channel. But take the guest perspective, and in that case, Booking is the cheaper channel. So if Booking was a big force in the US or in your market, then theoretically you should be getting a lot more bookings on that platform than on Airbnb.
And I'll just make a note of like, this is what the PMSs are great at doing, like guesty uplisting. Like you set the price that you want to earn, and then they go and do the incremental sort of price markups to make sure that price parity, after all the sort of separate fees that the OTAs are charging, sort of works back to where you're going to earn the same amount no matter what platform you're getting booked through. Because it can be a bit of math to understand, okay, like I get charged this, the guest gets charged that. But this is what's going to be really important over these next couple months as we sort of get to sort of D-Day, October 27th, when you've got to make sure to make these changes. Because if you sort of put your head in the sand and do not make a change on how you price, like you are going to be earning significantly less money than prior to October 27th.
Yep. That $100 now becomes $85. So now you're paying that full rate. So I have an interesting take that I haven't really seen any of the flamethrowers on LinkedIn putting out there yet. And you know who you are if you're one of those flamethrowers. But Airbnb just, 3 weeks ago discussed how they want to start and go heavily after hotels as a new supply channel. Well, that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone because Airbnb is an OTA just for vacation rentals. But the hotel world is 10 times larger than the short-term rental world. Finger to the wind, Jamie can fact check me, but I feel like I've seen that number before. And then you add in other things, flights, cruises, etc., which experiences, which Airbnb is trying, but it hasn't had a material impact on any P&Ls yet. But going into the hotel landscape, hotels don't want to play the game of split fees and trying to understand that. It's way easier to go in and pitch a hotel. We're doing the same pricing structure, same fee structure as our competitors. And this gives Airbnb some blue skies to tell investors that they can theoretically grow their market cap by another X percent or 10X by getting at par with their competitors in the hotel landscape. So I would anticipate this be the first of several changes coming soon. I wouldn't be surprised if the merchant of record on the hotel deals changes, and then that might percolate into future short-term rental payment structures. But that's in the future, and that's probably not going to change right now because, again, we talked a couple weeks ago on the carry that Airbnb makes on holding your cash for you so benevolently. But Jamie, thoughts on that? You think I'm on the right path? You think I'm completely off base?
No, I think it's exactly in the right sort of thought process, because and what I think is the misconception that happens on the host side of like, oh, like I don't have to pay that sort of service fee, full service fee. The exact same thing happens on the guest side. And I hear it all the time of like, oh, I'm going to book through booking.com, a hotel, or Expedia hotel instead of Airbnb, because Expedia doesn't pay me or charge me a service fee. Like, well, yes, you aren't explicitly being charged a service fee, but there is a 20% charge that is happening because you booked through that OTA. That is the difference between what you're booking and what the hotel is collecting. And many times, if you go to the hotel directly, like you're going to get a better price, or you're going to get better offers in terms of free Wi-Fi or things like that. There is a cost associated with that booking. So likewise, like in terms of the thread earlier, like there is a psychological sort of trigger on a guest when they see that additional fee that's being charged for them for the opportunity to book this listing. Like there, and it makes you a little mad of like, why do I have to pay this additional fee to book? And when you just see the price, and then like maybe there's a tax charge on top of it, and then you go to check out and you don't see that additional breakdown, like you still might know that it's there, but it makes you feel a little bit better that you're not getting sort of nickel and dimed on these fees when you go to check out.
And hopefully hotels can learn that back, because hotels have gotten in the nickel and diming business. The resort fee or the property fee or the XYZ, it's starting to get out of hand on the hotel side. But you're absolutely right. From a guest perspective, no one wants to see all the fees. Just show me the price. In fact, I'd rather have my head in the sand on the fees. How you break it out in your accounting system on the back end, I don't care. I want to know how much it's going to cost me, and I want to see that compared to all the other properties I'm looking at or hotels I'm looking at, and be able to make an educated decision based on whatever matrix of my decision making pattern is. So I think this is the first step in my mind for Airbnb becoming more of an OTA than just a short-term rental sharing platform. I do think the wake-up call is going to be loud and hard for the individual hosts when that change is made, that it's going to be 15% for them. But Jamie, I know you had some numbers as well. It's 47% of professional managers now.
Yeah. So globally, 47% of professional managers are on split fee. And really what that means, because half is sort of misleading, it's essentially all professional managers in Europe are already on the sort of host only fee. And almost no professional managers in the US are on the host only fee. And then essentially globally, all single hosts, individual hosts, and 1 to 5 listings are on the split fee. So, and the biggest impact initially that this is going to be on October 27th is for US and sort of other global based hosts and moving to this host only fee. And then I think we'll see down the line the sort of impact as they sort of figure out how to roll this out more broadly. I think they'll learn on sort of how to message this in the right way with this rollout, because I think so far there's been a bit of confusion, and then figure out the right way to sort of spin it. I think it's going to move and globally across all hosts. I just think they've got to figure out the right way where they don't start churning hosts because of people feeling like there's a increase in the fee from 3 to 15%.
Yeah, I mean they're going to start actually seeing the numbers coming out of their earnings, and so it's going to feel like they're taking a much larger take rate, and in some senses they are, because what you don't see is what you don't see, and ignorance is bliss. But moving on to the next topic, it's probably consistently been one of my favorite topics, and I think a huge trend if you're not paying attention, this can change online travel permanently over the next decade.
Mhm.
And we saw OTAs, become the thing at the dawn of the internet, really. But what's happened now is social media platforms control eyeballs and they control time spent on the internet. And for at least 2 years, I've been saying, I don't know why Instagram and Expedia haven't teamed up. But the next level has. TikTok and Booking.com have teamed up. And you can now book a unit via Booking.com on TikTok. So Booking.com has a B2B platform similar to Expedia's. And it's essentially a rev share. If you're the TikTok influencer and you drive that booking via Booking.com, you're going to get some portion of that commission, 5 to 7%, I believe. Not too dissimilar to Expedia's. What happens is now the OTAs, the OTA gets, I guess, a split commission in this case. So their revenue is down 50%. They're not paying for that eyeball. Booking.com spends billions of dollars a year on advertising. The hotels, if they don't have direct deals with the influencers and figure out how to book direct through TikTok, are now going to lose market share a little bit back on the direct booking side.
Mm-hmm.
And influencers become travel agents. And I think an influencer becoming a travel agent is a great thing for a lot of independent properties and properties that influencers want to go visit. Those are going to be the eyeballs, and attention is what sells today and has probably what always has sold. But I think this is a massive, massive start to the next decade of online travel. And I have to believe, just total conjecture here, but I have to believe if TikTok and Booking have teamed up, that it's only a matter of time before Meta and Expedia announcement comes out. They have to be in discussions. If not, as soon as this news came out, those executives are calling one another. And if they're not, I'm happy to broker a deal. I'll just take 5% sitting in the middle between all transactions. But surely it's in the works. And it's a huge thing for online travel. Jamie, thoughts, data?
Yeah.
Concerns?
And this sort of push to social media being a major driver of travel has been in the works for years, right? And we already see it in terms of TV shows on influencers sort of and making destinations really blow up.
Expedia put out data that 80% of the top of the funnel starts on social media. So this is Expedia's data. Surely they're looking at how to follow that through the funnel.
Right. And now, and I was just listening to the Acquired podcast on the start of YouTube this morning, and the creator economy and really began with YouTube and sort of the split revenue of, okay, if you're going to drive these views and we're going to share that revenue with you. So now in the creators on TikTok, you're generating all these views, all this interest in bookings. We're now going to share a portion of this revenue with you, and we're going to get you paid for driving these bookings to our properties. And one thing I love is and we've always sort of relied in the past on individual hotels, individual properties making these agreements with these creators themselves. And as you probably know, and through your storied days, doing all these sort of agreements on a one-off basis with each individual creator that they're going to come in, they're going to do this content, they're going to get some sort of incentive down the line. It's really hard to structure that on a one-by-one basis. But if you have these creators that are now going to be able to go in, you don't have to do anything besides have your existing sort of relationship with Booking. They can get as creative as they want to be to sort of drive incremental bookings to their properties, and you both sort of benefit in that upside. I think I think the possibilities are sort of limitless in terms of what this can mean for driving incremental growth, incremental bookings for these properties. I think it now becomes a huge sort of driver to be on booking.com. And which, if you're Expedia, if you're Airbnb, like, you want to be thinking about how you can have sort of similar incentives for your creators to drive bookings to your properties. And like, really excited to see where it goes. It really made, and when I saw the criteria that I need to have more than 1,000 followers on TikTok, like, to be able to be eligible for the program, like, it makes me want to go start building my TikTok following so I can maybe start benefiting from this program.
Let's see some dances, Jamie. I can't wait. I'll be your first subscriber. This also could be some writing on the wall that Airbnb is, again, starting to make some changes to look more like a traditional OTA, because they see the top of funnel and where it's coming from, and that they need to be in the mix. And without a B2B play, they might be left behind. Another thing that there's a reason why, besides pure attention, that social media is the top of funnel for travel. The content is better. Have you been to a hotel's website lately? It's awful. Here's 2 pictures of the room, and here's 3 pictures of the property. Short-term rentals is head and shoulders above everybody else on that front. And a lot of it goes back to kudos to Vrbo HomeAway back in the day, where you had to have, X number of photos to even go live. I think it was 26 photos or something. And by having more photos, people get a better idea of your house, and there's fewer surprises when you show up. Hotels incorporate, and really all of the OTAs incorporate, 0 video into the property, which blows my mind. And influencers can hop on and talk to their cameras, just like we're doing right now, and walk around the property, say the good, bad, and ugly about this hotel or that vacation rental. And the guests or the travelers or the potential bookers or whatever actually get to look and feel at what that property looks like that day. A photo shoot, it's perfectly staged, but is the grass green? Is there wine stains on the sofa, right? Is the bed frame broken? And I think if the OTAs want to keep up at all, they have to start putting some video content capabilities on their platform for hosts and hotels to be able to upload.
Yep. And I know this isn't a story about Airbnb, but I'm going to sort of work it back and sort of connect it.
Of course you are, Jamie.
If Airbnb would have thought of hosts as their influencers to drive experiences and services, and structured the same sort of fee structure of, if you're going to drive incremental bookings to our services and experiences, we're going to give you 5 to 7% of that commission, sort of work it back to you for driving those bookings. We're going to share in the growth of and growing our experience and service businesses. It would have been an entirely different launch. So I see this as a similar sort of recognition of value, that these influencers are driving significant value, potential value to these properties. And we're going to partner, we're going to share in the upside. And I think ultimately this is a huge net benefit to the travel industry.
Absolutely. It almost makes me want to go download TikTok, but I'm going to hold out. So I tried, and I've never done it. And
you're holding out for the Instagram and Expedia partnership, and then go heavy on Instagram.
Speak it into existence. That's right. I have very little vested interest in it, except just a fascination and a vision of where online travel will be in 5 to 10 years. So if you're listening, Zuckerberg and Gorin, is that how you pronounce it? Anyway, the CEO of Expedia. Then
Ariana. Yeah.
Hopefully you guys are on the phone together today, or have been over the past year.
Well,
anyway,
look, she is giving the kickoff at Expedia Vervo conference in Austin coming up. So hoping to get to say hi. And I'll mention it. I am going to ask multiple people and sort of report back when I get back on if we can expect a Expedia Instagram partnership, and maybe we can break some news if I get a wink and a nod.
Lob some questions there. Some questions. We want the exclusive breaking here on GMH by Skift. Cool. Well, Jamie, enjoyed it as always, and hope that the week goes well and your time on the lake today is wonderful.
Yeah, you as well. Hope 30A is beautiful as ever, and that there's not a hurricane that develops over the next 72 hours.
we should be all right. All right. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Logify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.